This is what the biggest brands on the planet do. They are experts at storytelling, and that's how they connect with their audience on an emotional level. They think about all of these stories and create all of these stories that tie back to their brand and the message that they want to portray, and they're able to convey these stories in a way that develops a deeper connection. And it really is so powerful when you compound these stories, especially for an individual entrepreneur or a small business, to help people understand where you came from and really develop that trust and credibility that you need in order to have brand loyalty for an extended period of time and not just one particular sale.
And I think another interesting thing just to mention is that, we're talking to a lot of entrepreneurs out here, and when you're an entrepreneur, you are your brand, you know? And so everything that you do is marketing. Every time that you're public facing, every time that you're having a conversation with a new person, that's marketing. Okay. Everything from us being on this podcast right now and Stephen, you being the
Mhm.
host, this is marketing right now.
Mhm.
Public advertising is marketing, but also one-on-one individual conversations with people are marketing too. And I think it's important for people to think about, it's almost like a chicken or the egg thing. Like, are you going to define who you are first and
Mhm.
then talk about who you're trying to reach? Or are you trying to figure out who you're reaching first? And then you're trying to define who you need to be in order to reach those people. And I think the more that, you can stay true to yourself and still reach that target audience that you're looking to reach, the more successful that you're going to be.
Yeah, it's such an important thing to underline because many people, whether they're in their career and they're executive or a business owner, sometimes people think, "Hey, well, this is someone else's department," and the truth is, it's really not. As an individual person, regardless if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, an executive, whether you're a project manager, whether you're getting coffee for somebody, every interaction you have is a marketing opportunity where you're going to show up and you're going to create your own individual brand about how people are going to think of you when you walk away. And so what can happen is you can either let that happen organically, or you can understand what are those strengths and weaknesses or the things that you want others to think about and accentuate, and then make sure that those are a part of the conversation in a organic and casual way. And so one of the things that was really beneficial about the work we did together, and I'm sharing that so that others that are listening can understand that this process can sometimes be difficult, but it's an iterative process that you can continue to work on, is actually reaching down inside vulnerably, pulling out some of those stories and standing next to the stories about yourself, who you are, what you're about. And all of it's very authentic. It's all true. It's all exactly all about you. But as entrepreneurs and business owners, oftentimes we can feel like we need to distance ourselves as the founder, owner, executive, team member for the brand of the company itself, while in reality, people want to build relationships with people. The reason why Richard Branson's Instagram has tens, if not hundreds of millions of followers compared to Virgin has probably, a tenth of that, is because people want to connect and have that interaction with a real person. And so when you can understand that, regardless of what your role is in your firm and what you're doing, then therefore you can set yourself up better for success. And let's bring this back to investing so that you guys can understand how this plugs in. It's really important to be able to understand what's happening from a marketing perspective in the businesses that you're investing in, because those who are really good at marketing are going to be really good at reaching the end customer and therefore creating a much higher alpha, a better return for you as an investor. So this is critical across the way, whether you're running your own business or you're an individual going to a networking event looking to connect to grow your career. It's absolutely critical to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you hit the nail on the head. And
Wanted to pause from today's conversation to share something that's been heavy on my mind as I'm talking with investor after investor, and I continuously hear this concern. It's the concern about inflation. We've seen some of the highest inflationary periods in the last 20 years, up 7.5%. Some believe inflation is actually closer to 20%. But what does that mean for you? Well, at the core, it means when money is sitting in your bank account or it's not in assets that are hedging against inflation, that you're actually losing buying power. So what does that mean? It means other things around us are getting more expensive, and the dollars that are sitting in your bank account are becoming less valuable. So what do you do about it? Well, one of the best hedges against inflation is investing in real assets, specifically real assets like multifamily. And why is multifamily so powerful for hedging against inflation? Well, we've put together a phenomenal 30-minute, purely educational webinar to be able to share with you why multifamily is such a powerful opportunity right now, why it makes sense to invest in a very hot market because inflation is so much hotter, and exactly how you can get involved. Now, if you're interested in learning more and educating yourself and potentially having the opportunity to get involved and actually hedge against inflation yourself, then I encourage you head over to investormindset.com/start. That's investormindset.com/start. And you can register for this 30-minute presentation that's going to be able to bring you through all of the reasons that you need to know and understand to avoid some of the biggest common pitfalls when it comes to investing, while also setting you up to invest to hedge against inflation through and through. Enjoy, and let's get back to the episode.
I think one point that you made that is really crucial is that vulnerability piece, right? In a way, people nowadays, they don't need or want someone to be superhuman, right? And in fact, they see that as inauthentic and fake, right? And I think what you could see, you mentioned Richard Branson, we could rattle off 10 other entrepreneurs or successful celebrities or people who are in the public eye who often have these stories that they consistently go back to that tells it doesn't always have to be rags to riches, but trials and tribulations and hurdles that they went through in their life that helped them get to where they are. And they're not always their proudest moments, right? You often hear Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talk about how he got let go from the NFL or the Canadian Football League, and how it was his lowest point and he had $11 in his pocket, and how he just, he lived with his mom, and how he knew that is what helped inspire him. Everybody knows that people have inspiration stories and that life isn't just, going in one inclined type of way. So it's important to, just like you said, dig deep into who you are, be a little bit vulnerable with your audience, let them know that you've had highs and lows in your life, and that, it took those trials and tribulations to get to where you are today. It helps build that brand identity, that trust, that grit, that strength that you need in order to persevere through the next trial and tribulation.
And I think just to piggyback off of like you talking about some of like the more famous celebrity entrepreneurs, when you think of these people, a lot of them are pretty polarizing. They say some things that are pretty controversial. And I'm not saying come out of the gate hot but I do think that it is better to stand for something than to stand for nothing. And there's stats out there too. Actually, I have it written down as a reminder. So 77% of consumers buy from brands who share the same values as they do. Right. So people want to know where you stand. People want to know how you think. And like, you might be afraid to go there. You might be afraid to share an opinion because not everybody is going to agree with you. But there are going to be people out there that do agree with you, and you're going to build a stronger bond with those people. And it's really about the quality over the quantity at that point.
And I think it's absolutely critically important to understand that what that messaging is going to be and how you're going to communicate that. And what I love about marketing is that I never have really considered myself an artist, except in the kitchen. I wanted to be a chef like Emeril Lagasse for so long. And I loved the fact that you could create something and somebody else could enjoy it. But that's what's really interesting about marketing, is that it is actually an art. There is something unique and different about each marketing piece that you're going to put together, the messaging and the creative that goes into it, but it's also a science. And that's what I think is really amazing, is that no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, whether you're the creative or whether you're the logical, you can succeed when you bring the other right people on your team. Because when it comes to having those multiple targets of the different types of people you want to connect with, and the different types of people that you want to reach, and the different messages that you're going to use to reach them, it's all about putting together a concept, an idea, and then going out into the world and testing it. And now, when a lot of people think of marketing, they're going to think, Stephen, well, you must be talking about an ad budget on Facebook. Well, I'm an executive in a company. I'm not looking to run ads on Facebook. Well, ads on Facebook is a great way to test things. And it's very common in that space to be able to test messages through that method. But the same thing is true when you understand what is the message that you're carrying in your career or in your business, when you're having one-on-one conversations at the coffee cooler or at a networking event or at a conference, and you can change up that message depending who you're speaking to, and you can change up that message depending on how that message is resonating. And there's actually a process that you can follow to be able to actually do this. But what we really want to do is inspire you to understand that marketing is more than what you might believe it to be. It's really a method of getting your message out there in a really effective way.
Thank you for listening to the Investor Mindset Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share with a friend. Head over to theinvestormindset.com to join the Insider Club, where we share tools and strategies from the top investors and entrepreneurs on how to take it to the next level.